It's just like when you come into Islam and you first wake up to the reality of Allah, God, the President, Master, Wallace, wakes you up to the reality of Islam. The first people that come around and try to tell you are the ones that you was out in the street with under undesirable way. Familiarity breeds contempt, so therefore, when she gives him instruction, he figured that he's more familiar with her and different things like this here, so it doesn't really have an impact like it should, so that's why you have other people tell them, hey man, get to do what you're supposed to do, huh?
Yes, sir, that's true. Yes, sir.
Where's that in still?
Yes, sir.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
The result of that, Allah God, the President, Master, Wallace, makes you the result of showing you how children imitate certain things, or children's wives so hard to raise the American so-called Negroes children because the so-called mothers cannot raise because the so-called mothers haven't been raised into the state of being a real so-called mother.
Yes, sir.
And when it is raised into the state of being a real so-called mother, because of the familiarity for you, so that you would know in the conscious of it, so that they would know also that there is a change with Islam and the President, Master, Wallace, by Allah God, the President, Master, Wallace, when it takes a hold to you, it brings about a change, and through trying that, they can't run, they see it.
Yes,
so that's the way that you know that you are born as a teacher. You have been tried and weighed in the scale and the balance, and you have been found to be a teacher.
Yes, sir.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So it's the same particular way, it's always that way when you come into Islam, and you would be tried by your so-called loved ones and different things, and then when they find out that you're not no fake, and you stand your ground, by Allah God, the President, Master, Wallace, with the power of knowledge, makes you stand your ground. Because your deeds and actions make them, because the deeds and actions of Allah God, the President, Master, Wallace, and His President, and the knowledge and the works of you make them. We were born to learn how to do that. We didn't even know how to catch the lips of the Creator.
That's right.
How to touch the hem of the Creator.
Yes, sir.
We have to be taught how to be able to do these things.
That's right. Yes, sir.
In a moment like this,
Yes, sir.
isn't it true?
That's true, yes.
I mean, this is the greatest moment of time.
Yes, sir.
Where Creator and beings, physical and mind, touching kiss.
Yes, sir.
That's the greatest infection that ever existed. Is that not true?
That's true, yes,
There's a
sir.
message in that music.
Yes, sir.
But you got to hear it. See, when I hear the music, I hear it in a different way. I hear it through Allah God, the President, Master, Wallace, makes us see it through the mind's eye of the Creator.
Yes, sir.
So all praises due to Allah God, the President, Master, Wallace, especially for the men of the That's why this here prefect, this here orientation of the breakdown of all this stuff is so important for us getting to the understanding of everything. That's why Allah got before you actually get into the mathematical chromosome genes metabolism breakdowns of the metaphysical terminology that's used to describe what's transpiring like a mechanic. Talking about inserts, pistons, and rings, and bells. Before you can get off into that, you have to really get into orientation of it. Why would you want to talk about that versus someone that don't even know what that means, man, yet?
That's right, yes, sir.
So that's what I'm talking about on the science and the mathematics, on the creation and of the black woman and the basis of the black woman, and the science and the mathematics of the powers of the black woman, and how to develop the powers of the body of the black woman, and the science and the mathematics of the creation of the basis of Allah God, the President, Master, Wallace, I had to come and give the believers the knowledge first. So that you take it step at a time. And when one stands before you and says, well, yeah, I studied, and I don't need to really study no more, well, that's fine. Then that just means that he's weak. That's a sign of what we should never become. But all praise due to Allah God and the President, Master, Wallace, on the science and the mathematics of the creation of the makings of the black woman, and the science and the mathematics of the powers of the black woman's body and how to develop it, which also relates to the science and the mathematics of the creation of the universal science and the mathematics of how the original man, the unibeing, self-created himself. You understand? All praise due to Allah God and the President, Master, Wallace, for this orientation, for this here lesson, to get us orientated up so that you be able eventually to break down to you the metaphysical terms, the biological and the metaphysical terms of how this process of works was did by you.
Yes, sir.
See, right now, it wouldn't be to get off all them to the chromosomes and the genes and the XYs and all the breakdown of actually what transpired. You wasn't laying out there in the mud somewhere after the great explosion. The unisex being wasn't laying out, the unibeing wasn't laying out there in the mud somewhere after a tremendous blast, and something was hanging out from between their legs with an umbilical cord, and they had to learn how to chew it off or something like that. That was not the process that was there.
Yes, sir.
It was a medical process that was there, and a laboratory in a building in the holy city of Mecca.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so this medical terminology, the medical words and the terminology that was used to describe it in its scientific points would be gotten into after the orientation and after certain people get to that level of knowledge, of understanding of the Latin and the Greek words, so they'd be able to understand these here medical terms a lot better.
Right, yes, sir.
That now would not be right to get into the medical term, because then you would really be lost up.
Yes, sir.
Get into the orientation and the bringing up of it, so that you have the story of the processes, then you'll understand that a lot better. You just don't jump into X, Y, and the chromosomes, genes, metabolism, and proteins. You just don't jump into all that, because when you jump into that too, you got to be also involved into the metaphysical part and the semantics of all that particular things, and then you have to go into the atoms, you understand electron, proton, and neutrons. You have to go into all these different types of aspects.
Yes, sir.
Isn't that true?
That's true, yes, sir.
So, but therefore, you first have to be given the part of knowing about the whole process, the whole story of the whole thing.
Yes, sir.
So all praise is due to Allah, God, the Prince of Master, what the people are from the Church, by the Messenger of the Muslim, because all knowledge is related, distant, or far. And so all praise is due to Allah, God, the Prince of Master, what the people are from the Church, by the Messenger of the Muslim, for even bring us back among us to down them up this way, so that you would know how we best to work with them, because they're all going to want to come back.
Yes, sir.
They cannot admit it because of the way of the law of mathematics, you know what I'm saying? The self-pride and all this stuff here. I mean, those mathematical things, and they don't want to believe in their own, they don't want to believe and hang on to that, what they believe into reality, until they can see the Master J himself and different things to say.
Yes, sir.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
There's a time and a place for everything, and it wasn't meant for all of the answers to come right in like that there in the first place. Some have to fall by the wayside in order to be the yin and to get to the yang and everything.
Yes, sir.
Isn't that true?
Yes, sir.
Allah God, the President of the for our members, like I told you, Allah God, the President of the for our members, blessed those on the members, cause that down. So how would you be able to, how else would he be able to make you know your conscious level, the distance that you have traveled, that he has brought you?
Yes, sir.
Isn't that true?
That's true, yes, sir.
So entire submission to the will of Allah God, the President of the for our members, blessed those on the members, is the key, but you're going to submit the entire submission to the will of Allah God, and the President of the for our members, blessed those on the members, either way that you go is still his will.
Yes, sir.
The great learning will. I mean, how can a psychiatrist write a book and have different types of characters and personalities and different patterns and tracks that they put them on if they didn't have someone to actually be in those particular patterns and stuff, to watch and to observe and to write them? And you'll find out most of the people that wrote that anyway was those that was hung up with those different type of faces of Eve that they had in them.
Yes, sir.
Isn't it true?
That's true.
All praise to Allah God. How could you write a book on criminology if you didn't have no criminals?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So all praise to Allah God, the President of the Master, one of the people I mean, what good? How can you write a penal correction, a penal book on how a correction to penalize people, and you don't have nobody to penalize?
That's right. Yes, sir.
So all praise to Allah